When you think about the human being and what happens in their life in such a short period of time, it's incredible what is happening in the body, what's happening in communication, what's happening in the mind. It's like no other time in a human's life. And then extending that into the first 3 years of life, it is quite remarkable when we think of all that occurs.
As a working mom, when I was able to, after the first week, drop the children off, and I felt far more secure with them being at school than probably even at home with me, I knew this is the right place.
I wanted something other than, for lack of a better term, daycare. I wanted something where there was a progression and there was you start here and you move to here and you move to here. And for us, that was always Montessori.
A lot of people ask the question, well, what do you teach an infant, or what do you teach a toddler?
It's really a profound stage of development. That's the foundation of character. That's the foundation of what kind of person am I going to be? Am I going to know myself very well? Am I going to seek to know others?
The foundation we're building is a love of learning. It's the opportunity to not feel fearful of exploring the world around you.
Montessori has given my children a foundation upon which everything else in their life ultimately is going to be built.
We set up the environment to be for the children. It's one thing to take your child to a place because you just need to have care for your child during the day while you work. It's another thing to choose a place where you as a parent feel valued, your child feels valued, and you feel like you have a connection to the school that's almost like your family.
Our passions for Montessori, I think I can speak collectively for the two of us, lies around the independence that it has instilled in our children.
In Montessori, there are some things we do differently. We let children feed themselves and dress themselves as soon as they're able to do that. We allow early toileting, and what we see is this sense of accomplishment, standing a little taller, and what I imagine their feeling is, I did it. I did it.
It is that piece of really intentionally thinking about what can we do in the classroom to allow the child to be independent at every aspect, from the kitchen to the bathroom to the playground to the classroom.
How can I pour a cup of water for myself to drink? How can I take off my coat and hang it up so that when I'm ready to go outside, I know where it is and I can put it back on again? How do I serve myself food to eat when I'm hungry?
From the very first day they arrive, there's a warm adult presence there who will pull themselves away, staying nearby so they can respond if the child has a question or a need, but not giving the sense that the child needs an adult to be able to move forward in this process.
The really big deal is not having a crib. The question always is, why floor beds and not a crib? When you think about an infant who wakes up and they have that desire to move, and if they're able to crawl and get out of their bed, I can go over to a shelf. I want to explore. I can do that. I don't have to wait for an adult to come and take me out of my crib.
What we give this infant is space for movement. We have structures that support this need for movement. It could be the climber, it could be a rod by a mirror. This sense of deep respect that we have for the infants, we want to enable them and support them without ever interfering in their growth.
If that child is given a space where they're free to move and free to explore and free to work on learning how to crawl, that development will happen very naturally. And that sets the foundation for their future learning, that they believe they can conquer the world.
Put turnips in the basket.
They start to explore the physical environment around them. It needs to be safe, but it also needs to be interesting. They're learning through all their senses, so everything they touch, everything they encounter in the environment is making an impression on them.
It's that idea of wanting a child to be intrinsically motivated, to have a love of learning. And we do that being able to prepare the appropriate environment with the appropriate furniture, the appropriate materials on the shelf. Objects that have different textures, that we have objects that are for auditory stimulation, visual stimulation.
We really look at each child and what they're doing and try to figure out something that will really grab their attention and they can engage in.
Our tool in Montessori is observation. we are trained people who care and also understand about child development and how to nurture what's growing in their child.
When parents see that in action, when they go into the classroom and they see that it's not about this one set institutionalized setting, that they feel more inclined to say, this is where I want my child to be.
I think ultimately when we often say, what do we want for our children? Long from now, what kind of person do we want our child to be? I think Montessori is the way. It is absolutely an education for life.